Springboks out. It's a pretty impressive-looking South African side. There's James Small, fellow that dropped the football with the line open. At fullback is Marty Roebuck. The three-quarters will be Carozza, Little, Horan and Campese. Michael Lynagh at fly half. Nick Barr-Jones in maybe his final appearance as Australia's captain. Today he leads Australia for the 36th time. Timmy Gavitt comes back at number 8. Willie offered Gowie back, and plenty of pressure on the front row for Mackenzie, Kearns and Daly. Today Botha, playing in his 25th international, joins Pete Visagi as the most cap 5'8" in Springbok colours. So just moments away from kick-off. The man in charge today is David Bishop, 43-year-old, the most capped referee in New Zealand. Today officiating in his 19th Test match after making his debut, Wales v Fiji back in '86. He last refereed Australia when they played Argentina in the World Cup last year. The stage set. Get a lot of pressure on David Bishop. He's made his point quite clear that he's going to be very strict on the line-outs, particularly with the lifting. He's now checking with the Australian side. Marty Roebuck will be the man that will start this historic Test match. 45,000 people jammed into Newlands. Now they're after sand for the start. Marty Roebuck today about to play in his 15th international after making his debut against the Welshman at Ballymore just last year. So just a temporary adjustment as the Sand Boys go into action here at Newlands. Absolutely incredible atmosphere. There's been so much expectation. No playing of the anthems today. The minute silence was observed before the players came out onto the pitch. And now the formalities are over. Referee Bishop checks with Springbok captain Botha. And this Test match, an anti-climax with the ball falling off the mound. And that will just help not to settle the nerves of the Springboks and the Australians. So I'll tell the Springboks to receive the kick-off, running with the breeze at their back in the first half. Australia secure at 2 wheels. The ball just travelling the required 10 metres. Now they push it over that 10-metre line. The Springbok backs up very flat in defence, and that's a terrific drive by the Australians. And they've got the ball. It goes out through Lynagh. First ball hoisted very high. It's a tester for Van Rensburg. He's under pressure. It's been knocked forward by South Africa. Australia get it again. They set it 10 metres out. It's been knocked forward. It's an Australian put into the scrum, and what a terrific start.
I only wish David Bishop had paid advantage there. The Australian side was on the march.
First scrum of the match, and plenty of pressure in this one.
Australian side worked really well on their scrum during the week. Well presented at the back.
Now Horan was bustled. The ball taken by Pete Muller. Now if Australia can get it, they've got numbers to the left. It's been secured by the Springboks, and a penalty offside against the Australians. And that will relieve the pressure for the Springboks just 5 metres out from their own goal line.
Fabulous start by the Australian side. They regained the kick-off and a wobbly sort of kick from Marty Roebuck. Driven it downfield. They feel there's some gaps in this Springbok pack through the middle.
Got a good kick from Botha. Now Barr-Jones hoists it high. It's angled towards that touchline. Australia secure it. Just inside the Springbok 22. The nerves have settled here at Newlands. Ball taken away this time by Robert de Priya. It's infield for Carozza. Plenty of pace for the left winger. Now he's been isolated. Paul Carozza's in trouble. Players over the top. It's back for the first touch for Campese. And he kicks to the open wing. This could be dangerous for Australia. It's Van Rensburg. Just putting it into touch. And gee, I thought there could have been better options.
Well, there were. The kick was the option, I think, David, but not down that side. Australia had all their support on the far side of the field. The ball muddy, the conditions heavy. First touch for Campese.
Big Adolf Milan, who, along with Adri Hillenhuis, will be out to try and dominate possession of this line out, as well as Yanni Brint at the back. First line out of the match, Philip Kearns to throw the ball into the line out. McCall battles at number 2. Far Jones under pressure. It's back for Lynagh. And under the pressure of Uli Smith, takes play back to the 22. But it's been knocked forward in the line out by South Africa. No advantage to the Australians. And the scrum will tack down 15 metres in and just on the Australian 22.
Another great opportunity to look at this scrum. Johan Strager, 33 years of age. He's only his second test match playing against the very strong Ewan McKenzie.
Far Jones to the back for Lynagh. And Dupree very quickly putting pressure on. But Lynagh takes the pressure off by taking it up to 10 metres short of the halfway line. Well, let's go touchline now to Russell Fairfax and the Springboks, as I mentioned, Russell, with that breeze at their back.
Yes, and they're hoping for a better start than they had against the All Blacks. But this is round 1 of a 15-round bout, and both of these sides are just feeling one another out. I expect a lot of kicking to be present in the first couple of minutes of the game, and well, I believe they're just looking to play field advantage. Once they've done that, we'll see the real teams in action.
Both sides settling down in the opening 4 minutes of this match. No score here at Newlands. Australia running into the breeze.
This is a situation where the front row must keep their feet up underneath them.
Now Campese on the right wing with the kick and chase. Van Rensburg took it well. Australia will get the throw to the line out.
Good work by the Australian side. They understand the Springbok defence in close is very good on the back row moves. Using the speed of Campese to chip ahead there. Make good ground.
Australia's last win here was in 1963, and today we have John Friedman, Peter Criddle, John O'Gorman, Peter Johnson and Rob Hemming watching these 92 Wallabies go around. Now it's McCall who hits it in the second phase. Good defence by the South Africans to try and tie it up, but the push is put on by the Wallabies. And a penalty is forthcoming, pulling down.
It's a problem Australia have had all tour. It's a problem the All Blacks had. As that drive comes on, you're not able to pull the ball carrier to ground. And David Bishop, very specific about this. You must make all attempts to stay on your feet and not just collapse and fold in under the ball.
So a chance now for Michael Lynagh, who's been under an injury cloud all week with that left knee. Took a very, very heavy knock in one of the earlier tour matches. He is 1 point shy of registering 750 in international rugby. He is by far the most prolific scorer in the history of the game. And I know that his parents are having a party tonight with some of the other family of the Australian Wallabies on tour, and to all those people around Australia that are enjoying this coverage, I'm sure you'll be willing this kick by Michael Lynagh to be successful. 35 metres out and 15 in from touch. Michael Lynagh hooks it away just past the upright, and Botha will force it in the in-goal area. Quick restart by the Springboks. Australia quick with the breakdown. They've won the ball. Far Jones away for Horan. Another tester, but that ball is howling up in the breeze. That's Pete Hendricks away for Van Rensburg. Campese in there with Horan. 25 out from the Springbok line. Terrific power by the Australian 8. Back it goes for Botha. Oh, he slips over. A chance, Horan. Australia secure it. A bad mistake by the Springboks. Far Jones. Now off Ngowi. Desperate defence by the Springboks. Australia just 10 out. And a penalty. No, it's been knocked forward by the Australians.
Unfortunately, Willio going forward there, hit the ground hard. The ball spilled forward. Here's the replay. Nasty's chipped over there. Timmy Horan. And a dry ground, he would have been there.
First up
dry ground, though, probably Botha wouldn't have made that error as well.
No, that's right, but the first up tackling of the South Africans, very good. Pulling the ball carrier to ground immediately, and David Bishop leaving no doubt as to who's in control of this game.
Robert Dupree working blindside with Botha onto the left foot. Well, it wasn't a confident kick as well. But these conditions are not easy.
Very good pressure, though, from Australia. They've come forward right across the field. And I think today It's not one or two up. It means a good flat line across the field, moving forward at all times.
Johan Steiger playing in his first full international at the front of the line out. Behind him is Heldon Heiss. Then Milan and Britt. And Ian McDonald at the back for the Springboks. That's Tony Daly at the front. Gavin jumping at number 2. McCall and Eales at the back for the Australians. They go to the back for Eales. That's a great catch. A two-hander liner away for Horan. Horan with a cutout pass for Little. Ball loose on the ground. Splendid play by Wilson. Terrific support play by the open side flanker of the Wallabies. Now again over the top.
He's got Wal Bartman. Wal Bartman's the play. He's been doing it the last 3 weeks.
Dick Cox, Natal selector, former Queensland and Wallaby player. Very specific about Bartman. He wouldn't have had him in his side because he commits those errors too often. Going in the other side, collapsing, preventing that ball from coming back.
Well, we have an injury to Willie Offengawi. Back in the test side after missing the Bledisloe Cup series. He's been in wonderful form on tour and thoroughly deserved to win his space back, but I think he may have a cut to the above the right eye as Michael Lynagh contemplates trying to put Australia in the lead.
I've never seen Willie O bleed, David.
Rarely do you see him go down either, but he's back. He's as tough as teak. Scored a try for the South African Barbarians against Charles Vaal and Ellis Park just a few months ago on his second appearance in an international match on South African soil. Now Michael Lynagh with the ball placed. That is how the touch judges will view the kick, and the crowd on the Darnie Craven stand at the southern end of this ground. The rain has stopped. Lynagh poised. A chance to put Australia into an early lead. And he's got it. 752 points in World Rugby for Michael Lynagh. Australia lead 3-0. 5 out from their own 22. Let's go touchline with Russell Fairfax. What's the latest on Willie Offengawi?
Well, Willie Offengawi, it's no problem for the Australian side. He's copped a knock over the right eye. There's a fair bit of swelling, but no cut, which is great news.
Now the kick. Touched by Hendricks. Back at his 22 is Theo van Rensburg. Great chase by Horan. Got the ball, finds touch. That's a great reply by van Rensburg.
It was a good reply. The kick, though, it dropped inside touch. The wind just swirls around inside the stadium. No one game to go at it.
The Australian's been very effective today. John Eales jumping forward rather than going back to the ball. He's beaten his man every time.
Eales at 4, up against Heldon Heiss. Supporting. We knew he was going to do it, Chris. And he's pinged the South Africans, pinged the Australians so early in this first half. How ironical.
Well, he was asking for that clear tunnel. He says the Australians were supported in their jump.
Well, David Bishop, when he met the Australian side during the week, said specifically, no lifting, you Rod McCall.
So Nars Botha today leading his country for his 6th time in his 25th international. He's been a prolific point scorer. 277 points in Test rugby, which is the South African record. Made his provincial debut way back in 1977. With the breeze at his back, he didn't kick particularly well in the Johannesburg Test match against the All Blacks, but the Springboks will be hoping that Nars Botha has the boot well and truly on today. The ball being supported by Van Rensburg. There's the kick by Botha. It's short. And Campese will force it in the in goal. Conditions not ideal, though, for footing as far as these goal kickers are concerned. And we've got 2 of the world's best out there today in Botha and Michael Lynagh. So Australia has practiced this stage of their play religiously this week as they try to secure possession from the dropout, but they can't do that. And the line-out will take place right on the 22.
Marty Roebuck kicking into a very strong breeze. That's the reason why they didn't choose to go long downfield. Able to keep control over where the ball finishes.
Very, very strong breeze blowing down the ground. De Pria away from Botha, then in turn for Muller. He's a very strong centre three-quarter, this fellow. They work again, blindside De Pria. Dani Herba away now for Uli Smith. Terrific play by Smith. And the Springboks are storming. and Australia's defence is tested.
And it's good formation by the Australians, despite Willie Smith getting past Paul Carozza. The numbers there set.
Good work by the South Africans through two of their legends. First Danny Herber and then Uli Smith. Comes into Carozza, a mismatch in size. Carozza holds him up long enough to be finished off.
So the line out, 10 metres out from the Australian goal line. Phil Kearns to throw the ball into the line out. McCall is at 2. Behind him is John Eales in the middle of the line out. And in number 6 jersey there is Willie Offengowie. To knock through the South African line out. Good hands by Botha, giving it away to Muller. Australia's midfield defence is tested. But the ball has been knocked forward again.
He's got an ask for a forward pass there. Certainly was.
And I think the claim came from one of the Australian centres pointing it out to the referee as well.
Yeah, Jason Little had his arms thrown in the air.
So, the scrum feed. Nick Farr-Jones at the back. Johan Steiger here's ping.
This is good refereeing. We saw the test against the All Blacks deteriorate as Richard Lowe kept standing up and bringing that front row up.
Very firm control by David Bishop. Now line up. Oh, that's a magnificent kick. And the crowd at Newlands applaud it. Despite being under that injury cloud, Lynagh's kicking in general play so far has been of the highest order. Big Adolf Milan, 153 games for Northern Transvaal. He played against the World 15 and 89. Jumping at 4. I'm going down. David Bishop really talking to his players out there. It's a Springbok ball. De Priya for Botha, hoisting it high. Now draws Roebuck out of his 22. Oh, the ball's been stolen. South Africa with the football. 20 metres out. Good play by De Priya. The kick and chase. Wait for Small's pace. But the ball is far too quick for James Smalls. He is a flyer on the right wing for the Springboks. And that is a good passage of play by the South Africans.
Well, against the All Blacks, they used the kick to penetrate the line. Firstly, the one to draw Roebuck outside his 22, and then across the back of the flat Wallaby back line. Paul Carozza could do nothing about it.
So this line out right on the Australian goal line. It's a vital one for the Wallabies. They must win their own ball here. Eales. Good control. A 5-metre scrum has been awarded, and the feed to the Springboks.
He's got Tony Daly for driving the ball into his own men there. Bit of a harsh penalty, but it's a very legitimate penalty.
A chance now for the Springboks, just 5 out.
Critical scrum for Australia. Must set this very firmly in the front row. Drive this up on the tight head side, up on Ewan McKenzie to keep it straight.
Ball at the feet of Yanni Britt. Giving it away now. It's been knocked forward by Milan. Now Botha flicking it away for Small. He's got plenty of strength as well as pace. But Australia's defence is rock solid. Only 15 out from their own goal line, the Wallabies. And all of a sudden the Springboks are applying the pressure.
Well, that's superb defence by this Australian side. Springboks try to punch it down the blind side with inside forward move. They found plenty of brick wall there. The ball came back with plenty of chases to push him back further.
So the scrum just 15 out from the Australian goal line. Australia lead by 3 points to 0. And we've had 17 minutes of play in this first half. Line up. Again, a good touch finder. Taking play outside the Australian 22. And Australia in the lead here at Newlands by 3 points to 0.
We come from a land
of the first half, and Australia with that 3-point lead as the rain starts to tumble once again here at Newlands. The conditions are not ideal. And again, he's having trouble with the 2 front rows.
David Bishop doing a superb job here talking to the players. He's pre-warning them. That's a sign of a very good referee.
Line up from inside his 22, again kicking to the open wing. Now it's trouble again for the Australians. Van Rensburg, the kick.
and a late tackle. Well, Australia must put this ball into touch.
Clever play from Van Rensburg, but as you say, David, another silly mistake coming long on this side. And Van Rensburg squeezed the ball through between. He saw he had no options. Watch this. Squeezes it away and runs into both players who have committed to block him off, but block him off they did.
So once again, Van Rensburg assists Botha. He missed with his first attempt, but now a wonderful chance for the Springboks to bring it back on level terms. Ball placed 15 metres in on the 22.
That's a bad, no, it's swayed away again. Well, I thought for all money, Russell Fairfax, that breeze the way it is blowing, would have had to put that ball back inside that right hand upright.
Well, David, it was Botha who turned to Van Rensburg and said, how in the world did that miss? And we looked at it from here, we were right behind it. It just curved in and then curved away.
Yes, it was on its way back in. And that's a poor start by the Australians. So the scrum will pack down on the 22.
You'd have to expect under this field position for Botha to go for the drop goal.
Well, he's kicked 15 in international rugby. Wait for him. Now he's in trouble. Now he's kicked for small swing again. And he's turned poor Carozza around. Carozza got to his feet. And no option but to run it into touch. Well, I'm sure it went through his mind. The last minute he knew he was in trouble, and he took the next best option.
Yeah, he's very smart in his place on his feet, Nas, and here's a great little kick into the corner there. He saw he was covered for the drop goal, opted for the positional play in that corner.
So again, the Springboks, 10 metres out, taken by McCall. Gee, that's a vital ball by the Australians on the South African throw. Far Jones, back for Lynagh. Now, this is another great attacking opportunity for South Africa. James Small straightens up play. Terrific tackle in midfield by Tim Horan. The ball kept on the ground. It's been towed through by Dupria. Now McDonald arrives, and Australia going backwards. It's back for Marty Roebuck. His kick won't find touch either. There's indecision there, though. It's now taken by Big Yanni Britt, away for Danny Herber. There's no fullback at home for Australia. But Michael Lynagh will just safely make sure it's forced in his own in goal.
Well, this is pressure rugby at its best. A couple of errors coming from the Wallabies in their kicking. But the Springboks not able to drive any advantage of territory home. They've been camped down here in the last 15 minutes. Australia must play the territory, field position, work up the lines.
Restart now by Marty Roebuck. Oh, and again it won't cross the line. Two critical mistakes by the Australians from their restarts of play, and it's something, Simon, they work so hard at during the week.
Gee whiz, they make it hard for themselves, but you can't appreciate how tough the conditions are here on the ground. There's a howling gale coming down the field. They're just going to play with a little more certainty in their kicks.
Will we see a Botha drop goal here? Again, the referee having trouble with the scrum.
Well, Jan Steiger going down to his knees. Referee going to take a critical look at this side of the scrum.
Dupria away for Botha again, feigning, and this time putting it high again for Campese. Confusion. Roebuck did very, very well. And he drives it deep downfield. It's in the field of play for Botha. And Botha linking up with Van Rensburg. Turning it back now for Val Bartman. And that's terrific defence by David Wilson.
Jason Little and David Wilson combining there. Jason Little, he's a great defender, and Wilson in there over the top. And well, Bartman, a hard man.
Chris, I could see a collision caused there by Campese and Marty Roebuck, but obviously the communication is out there despite this big crowd.
Well, they were lucky to get out of it, but as you say, David, the noise level here is unbelievable. The ball was high, swirling around, but it will take some great communication.
Terrific play again by John Eales in the line out. And Australia about 35 out from their own goal line.
Sweeping by Daly, sensational.
23 minutes of play gone first half. Timmy Gavin coming through this side in number 8. His test recall here today after missing the Bledisloe Cup. Now Lynagh hesitated, put it up high for Pete Hendricks. Good safe hands by the Transvaal winger. And again, his provincial teammate finds touch. It's just inside Australia's territory. That's the halfway line you can see. De Pria, a clever little kick in the box. Campese, wonderful hands. The kicker chased by Campese to open space. Small dives on it. Campese arrives. It's been knocked forward by Australia, but not detected by the referee. That's Gavin driving, laying it back nicely. Far Jones. Australia of numbers. The pass went astray. Now Roebuck's under pressure, but he did well.
Gee, that's a tough call. Wide out, Marty Roebuck struggling in the heavy mud. And the ball floated in the air. It didn't go to hand. Lynagh had the move of foot, but she was one of those nice big Sydney Harbour passes. Roebuck straightened and the ball just floated outside. He did well to tidy.
Well, Russell Fairfax on the touchline. The rain has stopped, but this ground is starting to churn up.
This ground is incredibly heavy, especially for the backs, as you've just seen with Marty Roebuck. But Australia must get back to basics. They must start to put the ball out if there to be any threat. And as Chris said, and as Simon said, they need to play the territory. Once they get down their end, we will see some better play. Right now, they're struggling with the ball.
High tackle on Horan by Naz Botha, as our action replay shows. And Michael Lynagh won't find touch. Yes, he will. Well, how fortunate is that?
That's a unique sight. Naz Botha making a tackle.
And getting penalised for it. So Australia with the throw to the line out. And this is a crucial one into the final 15 minutes of this first half. They hold a 3-point advantage. Now all the line-out drills I've done throughout this tour come right into play. McCall is at 2, Eales in the middle and Gavin at the back. McCall can't secure it. Willie Smith ties it up for the Springboks. And now Australia drive it forward.
Hold in, Phil. Great!
Springbok ball, De Pria. A 1 metre gain.
Both sides today will be restricted to 2 and 4 and maybe 6 to line out. They're not
Quick
going to
throw.
too many long
And it hadn't
throws.
travelled 5 metres. The idea was good. Nick Barr-Jones throws the ball down in disgust.
And Tony Daly was inside the line unless the referee said the proppers reached forward.
Now will Campese get the quick throw? Marty Roebuck hoists it high. Botha calls for the fair catch. And it's paid by referee David Bishop.
The problem about that centre field high kick is that opens up the options for Botha on both sides of the field.
Now to the left foot, Botha. That's a good touch finder. Taking play to 10 metres short of halfway.
In these conditions, Simon, I think the kicks probably should go up the line in front of the player kicking the ball.
Yeah, you have to be a very smart kicker to put it anywhere here today. It's a good performance by the Australian side. 13 minutes to go, leading 3-0 with a big breeze running into their faces. If they turn with this sort of lead, it's going to be a very good second half for the Wallabies.
Heldon Heiss up against Gavin at the front. Milan against McCall. Eales against Breach. John Eales takes it short of the 22. This is a great opportunity for Australia. Options either side. And again, the Springboks take it down. And the referee consistent and strong.
We're so used to seeing a good driving ball in Australia and New Zealand play. This is a difficult call, but a good one against the Springboks. You must stay with the ball up. The player with the ball in hand on his feet should have the advantage at all times.
Michael Lynagh, 1 goal from 2 attempts so far. Has a chance to strike another blow for the Wallabies with 12 minutes of play remaining on the clock to half-time. Remembering, as Simon Porterman mentioned, they are running into the teeth of a very, very strong breeze in this first half. So these points are vital.
Well, David, we have some happy viewers at home, but I think any happier than Nick Greiner, who was exonerated of the charges yesterday.
Well, I'm sure that Nick will be watching this telecast as the Oranges start tumbling onto the field here.
I'll settle for a happy Nick on this field today.
And that would be Nick Farr-Jones, the Australian captain. Lynagh. He's hooked it again. Australia lead by 3-0. Michael Lynagh 1 from 3. 45,000 people here at Newlands, and they have had plenty to cheer about in the opening 29 minutes of this historic test match. Now taken forward, knocked forward by the Springboks. Australia will get the put in as Ewan McKenzie and Ian McDonald come to grips. Do not want the forwards to engage until the ball is in the hands of Nick Barr-Jones. And again, the referee telling both sets of front rows to back off. Scrum feed Australia, 25 metres out. Watch for the back row move. Gavin was isolated again. Barr-Jones, Australia again now with Lynagh, putting it up high. It's into the 22. Van Rensburg knocked it back. Now Australia played off the ground, not on the feet, Willie Offengowie. And again, the Springboks with a chance to relieve pressure from inside the 22. Lars Botha from centre field. Makes sure of it. And takes it to within 5 metres of halfway.
David Wilson's having a big game for the Wallabies here today. He's been all around the field, scooping that ball up. Great skills on the wet deck.
Playing in his 6th test match today, the Eastern Suburbs player from Brisbane. He's only had the one loss in that time, and that was the 3rd test against the All Blacks. That's good secure ball that time by Adri Heldenhuis. Now Botha, high ball again. Who wants it? Roebuck. Eels arrive well. And again, they want the players to stay on their feet. It's a scrum feed to the Springboks.
Good work, Marty Roebuck, to field that ball. Difficult one to get away.
Roebuck retreats inside the 22, but he can expect another one from Lars Botha. Here it comes, but it's not a good kick. But Australia indecisive. Must be very difficult to hear the calls out there. And again, coming on the wrong side was David Wilson. And a penalty goes to the Springboks, just 24 metres out. And an ideal opportunity for Lars Botha to put put points on the board for the Springboks.
Well, James Small had been nailed at the ball. The Wallaby support came thick and fast.
Lars Botha, none from 2 so far, but this one's nearly directly in front. With the breeze at his back. Again with Van Rensburg with the assist. Botha takes the deep breath. In fact, he's got none from 2. There's the kick. The crowd tell us that the Springboks are back on level terms with 8 minutes remaining to half-time. It's going to be an Australian put in.
Again, it's been good pressure by the Australians from the kickoff. When they've been able to get that ball into play, they've really contested it well.
33 minutes of play gone at Newlands. And these two magnificent rugby sides are locked at 3-all. Australia, the world champions. The Springboks coming out of isolation in 1992. Now Barr-Jones got to the advantage line, turned it back to the support of Wilson. Now Australia is without a halfback. The acting player is Kearns for Lynagh, kicking away now for Carozza's wing. It's putting pressure on Small, but he claims the fair catch as Carozza arrives.
You see James Small had a crack at Carozza then. He's a pretty fiery player. 22 years of age. Carozza threw very hard. Hits him late. Small puts the elbow in.
Former fullback James Small, and you saw the evidence of that with a very safe take. Now Barr-Jones tests them again. Now Australia will get the throw to the line out.
Good play by Nick. That time he kept that ball up down the line and has got the head in the stomach, probably winning him. But it was a good option by the captain. He kept it up in front of his players, and I don't think it would have hurt that man, Uli Schmidt's head.
Lars Botha now coming across to check on his opposing captain, Nick Barr-Jones. Greg Craig out there. Let's watch it again. Uli Schmidt, shoulder, and Nick Barr-Jones obviously winning, as Chris Handy suggested. The Australian skipper, who's been battling a flu virus throughout the week, takes his place alongside this Australian line-out, which is a vital line-out. Just 6 minutes of play remaining to the half-time break. They go to the back again for Eels. He's a wonderful athlete. Horan, back for Little. Incisive play by the Australian three-quarters. Now Phil Kearns.
Support. Far Jones. Lynagh. Carozza. What a try! Australia in the lead again.
Super try, Paul Carozza. Far Jones reads the play beautifully. Phil Kearns, instead of taking the ball forward any further, slips the pass out to Far Jones in the loop. Lynagh, a fantastic little pass around the corner to Carozza, and Carozza, like so many times this year, scampers over for a real great try.
Dupree had the ability to take Carozza out, but went high as he's done most of the series. It was great work by the Australians, who got wider than the first up South African tackling, which is very, very good.
Paul Carozza's 7th try in international rugby, but I know that our 53 Wallabies watching this back home would remember another Queensland left winger by the name of Garth Jones, who scored the match winner in extra time in that very same spot in front of the Craven stand some 39 years ago after a 60-metre run when Eddie Stapleton put him in the clear. That helped Australia win that test match by 18 points to 14. I wonder what contribution that try by Paul Carozza will mean at the end of the 80 minutes here this afternoon.
Well, David Bishop telling Michael Lynagh if it falls over again, he's got to drop kick the ball over. I wish that one of the Australians was up there to try and pin this ball to the ground for Michael Lynagh.
So from right in touch, or near touch on that far side, Michael Lynagh, ball placed. So far has kicked a penalty. Australia lead by 8 points to 3. It's a tough conversion attempt, kicking into this breeze. It's going to hold up, but Australia lead by 8 to 3 with just 4 minutes of play remaining to the half-time break. Through that Carozza try, have a 5-point break, and the clock is winding down to a well-deserved break at half-time by two sides who have contested this test match at a ferocious rate. Now Botha. Hendricks comes in on the wing to run off Muller. Dupree, one of the biggest halfbacks in world rugby. It's been knocked forward by Roebuck, but he tidied up his mistake by putting it into touch. But the Springboks will get the put into the scrum 5 metres out from the Australian 22.
The first up centre tackling, Tim Horan and Jason Little, has been faultless so far. Been an important factor in the game. Tim Horan is back.
Dupree away for Nas Botha. It's not a good pass. Picked up by Danny Heber. Good play by the Australians in midfield. They have tied Gerber up right on the halfway line.
Critical to keep this ball in. We're missing players out wide. But Far Jones and Horan in there with strength.
Taken in by, there's Andrew Blades walking up. I just wonder whether there's a problem in the Australian front row at the moment. Taken in by the Springboks. Australia's put into the scrum. Gavin at number 8. Far Jones stands wide. A little kick and chase by has been taken out. Penalty. Late tackle against Yanni Britt. A shoulder charge late after the kick by Nick Far Jones. And Michael Lynagh will search for touch. Well, Russell Fairfax, I will just wait as that kick again does not find touch. Rensburg does. Let's go touchline to Russell. What's the story down there with Andrew Blades?
Well, I think the guys are just getting a bit edgy up in their seats. They're down here warming up. Paul Carl's down here too. There's no problem with any Australian player right at this particular time. The boys are just loosening up as a precaution.
Johan Steiger, as I mentioned, playing in his first full appearance in Springbok colours. He came on for Heinrich Rogers in the test match against the All Blacks at Ellis Park and made an enormous difference to that Springbok front row. Great play again by John Eales and solid support by Daly, who swept from the front of the line out.
Daly's having a blinder.
Far Jones away for Kearns, a la Sean Fitzpatrick, as he does so effectively for the All Blacks, does Phil Kearns, and now John Eales. Driven back by the Springbok pack.
Probably one too many there, but they're going to get the ball out anyway.
Now they come open side after thoughts of the blind. Little in trouble. That's poor play.
Good play though by Far Jones. Kani Herba. Support with Botha. For Small. In turn for Dupria. And the ball into touch on the full. But Australia showing lack of cohesion there in midfield. But they will get a well-earned break. Australia at half-time at Newlands in this historic test match. Coming to you live and exclusive right around Australia. The Wallabies, the world champions, lead South Africa by 8 points to 3. Back in time is referee David Bishop of New Zealand, looking to check to blow time on in the second half, and Australia in the lead by 8 points to 3. Just the one try in the first 40 minutes. And John Eales again, wonderful pair of hands he's got, this young second rower from the Brothers Club in Brisbane. As Australia drive it outside the 22. Far Jones falling for it. But it's a South African put into the scrum. It's a chance now to go touchline to Russell Fairfax.
Well, it's been a fairly good first half for the Australian side. They've hit the lead, and that's just what they wanted to do. The Springboks with a lot of work ahead of them, but they have shown they can finish well. Joining me now, Sam Scott Young. Sam, you've been a part of this Australian side. What have they got to do out there to maintain this lead?
Well, they've just got to keep going the way they are. I think the Australians have taken more of the advantage of the opportunity that have arisen throughout the game. They started well. The forwards just have to pick up the drive in the second half. As you can see, both 5'8s are using their tactical kicks to get downtown. I just think if the forwards can pick it up a notch, more intensity all over. In the backs also with this win, they've got a pin for possession. And I think the way the Springboks are pulling the mauls down too, I think we'll get a few three-pointers out of it.
Well, thanks, Sam. Australia still with a fair bit of work to do, but looking good at this stage.
8 points to 3. Again, Gavin for Far Jones. Terrific back row play, and we thank Sam Scott Young for those comments. I know that he was very, very disappointed, along with Troy Coker, that they didn't get a spot in the back row in this Australian side here today at Newlands. They performed so admirably for Australia in that Bledisloe Cup series. But for Tim Gavin, you've got to give it to him. He missed the World Cup and the Bledisloe Cup. What a moment it is out here for him this afternoon. Now, the ball controlled by Yanni Breed at the back, turning it back now for Val Bartman.
Definite penalty that time. You can see it easily. The number 8 took it away, passed inside to Val Bartman, who just ran straight into Yanni Breed, using him as a screen. So he's so doing, putting him offside. See that? Transferring the ball and staying there as the screen in front of him.
So it gives Australia a chance to go into the attacking half for the first time in the second 40 minutes.
David Bishop said to Nas Botha at half-time, it's about to kick off. It's going to be a hell of a 40 minutes ahead. That certainly will be the case.
Well, the crowd at Newlands have been lucky after that heavy downpour just before half-time. The gods have been pretty kind to us because despite it being cold and windy, at least it's dry here at Newlands. Now Dupria, the ball off the feet. Now Botha with a probing kick inside the 22. It skids. Marty Roebuck on his own with no angle does very well indeed to take it outside the Australian 22.
That's a beautiful kick by Nas Botha. He made a lot of ground into a difficult wind there. Maybe a pattern he takes on the second half.
He's definitely wanting to camp in the Australian territory in the second half.
Adolph Milan. Now Australia trying to lay it back. Far Jones back for Michael Lynagh. And again he plays to play touch. Well, he will. No, he won't. Van Rensburg. Russell Fairfax, it looked frightfully obvious that when James Small played the ball, he was in touch.
The linesman way out of position there. He was right back here where the kick took place. He was out of touch. He had his foot on the line when he touched the ball. It should have been a line out down there, Australia.
Now, the referee Bishop calling for Aldi Gildenhuis to clear the gap in this line out as Kearns contemplates the throw to Eales, and again he wins the ball for Australia. It's not quality ball though for his skipper. Back goes Johan Steiger. He's knocked the ball forward. Bartman arrived. Again Bartman over the top, playing the ball on the ground, and again, as we predicted,
while Bartman falls foul of the referee again.
As David Bishop was speaking to us last week. Here's the incident here. Bartman playing the ball on the ground. But David Bishop said he didn't need to leave South Africa with any friends. He just wanted the referee the game the right way.
Well, the new laws say if you're not on your feet, you're out of the game. Bartman is the old style, and like some of us before him, would have had very little place in this modern game. Just squeezing it back between his legs, giving up the penalty.
Now, the throw to the scrum, the line out to Australia. Daly again swept brilliantly. It'll be Gavin giving support. It's McCall in there at number 4 as they wheel it to the left. This is great play by the Australian forwards. In testing conditions, they have control. McDonald is in there working for the Springboks.
McDonald at the back is offside and out of the play. He's pulling it down and they're playing advantage. The referee will play advantage.
They got him out of there pretty quickly. This is terrific play by the Wallabies.
Ball's available. It goes to Lynagh. The little kick.
Forced in goal. A penalty. The Springboks were offside. Advantage was played brilliantly by the referee, David Bishop.
Well, he got both the backs, and I think he could have penalised Ian McDonald as well. It was very, very deliberate offside play by him.
Trying to pull it down. I think this is a poor advantage played by David Bishop. He's called it offside on the play there, but it was obstruction pulling the thing down, and I think Timmy Horan got to the ball first anyway.
That is unbelievable on that replay. Tim Horan was brilliant to get there. Gee, I'd love to have a look at that again. That to me looked like a try to Australia.
David Bishop was in position in goal, watching it come towards him.
In the back play, David Wilson leaving the field. He's got a bloodied nose. He'll get that cleaned up and come back on.
So after Australia possibly denied a fair try, a chance for Michael Lynagh to increase Australia's lead at the 6-minute mark of this second half. So far, he's kicked just 1 penalty from 3 and missed the conversion attempt of the Carozza try. Michael Lynagh, after hooking 3, he's pushed 1 to the right. No change to the scoreline. 7 minutes play gone, second half.
It's been amazing this last week. Firstly, Grant Fox, Nas Boyder and Michael Lynagh all having problems with this goal kicking.
3 of the finest kickers, Chris, in the football in the world.
Yes, David, no explanation.
Now it's a South African ball. Dupria. That's Hendricks. Oh, solid stuff. Campese supported Far Jones. His kick down towards the South African 22. Van Rensburg, the young Transvaal fullback, angles it towards touch.
He's outside his 22. Bishop will take it back. The Australian players saw it. Referee going to linesman now.
Is that on the full? Is that on the full?
He's asking the touch judge, was it on the full? And he says Van Rensburg was outside his 22. Let's have a look at it again. He says by a foot.
Great kick by Campese to get Australia out of trouble. And it drew Van Rensburg's reply forward.
So the line out to take place on the 22 at South Africa's end of the ground. And the Wallabies, the world champions, lead by 8 points to 3. Taken down by Yanni Brett at the back. Offside Australia. And it was again Willie Offa-Ngowi. And a chance for Nas Boyter to drive it up towards halfway. Russell Fairfax, conditions have improved here at Newlands.
The sun is fighting, it's doing its very best to get through here, and I think we'll have a fairly rain-free second half, which will suit the Australians, no doubt. They have the wind, and I expect that they'll play it down the South African end for most of this half.
So the line out just short of halfway. John Eales has had a splendid game in the second row for Australia this afternoon. And again, Australia win the ball on the South African throw. And line up, well, into touch on the full. So Australia lead here at Newlands by 8 to 3. Marty Roebuck But certainly, he didn't take that ball cleanly.
Yes, he did take it cleanly, David, and needs only to have 1 foot on the ground.
Beautiful kick by Roebuck, and as he kicked it, an orange flew past his head. The crowd weren't happy.
Now the line out, 5 inside Springbok territory. Uli Schmidt. McCall charging across the line to Priya. Rushed into touch by Phil Kearns.
Phil Kearns doing a great job around the front of the line out today. He's been through there like a terrier, making life a misery for Dupriya.
Great concentration needed by the Wallabies now. They've just got to work the ball deep into Springbok territory.
Far Jones going for the quick tap.
Now Far Jones giving it away for Kearns. Daly arrived as well. Australia get it back through Timmy Gavin. Offengawi arrives. Far Jones works blindside. Horan, kick and chase. Will he get the bounce? Clever play. Horan. No try. Did everything right. The ball just eluded him in the end.
Tim Horan back into play. Beautiful skills. Carried the pass, did the chip. Kept focused all the time. It's one of the skills. The kick on with the ball was the option that time. He was being shadowed heavily and just fails in the race for the ball.
Eels taken out without the ball. Fair Australian penalty. And Chris, isn't it great to see Tim Horan back to his best?
Yes, mate, it's been a quiet tour so far for Timmy, not being amongst the try scorers. But, he's right in there today.
Michael Lynagh, with the breeze at his back, will attempt yet another penalty goal. At this stage, his strike rate this afternoon is only 20%. 1 from 5, which is most unlike Michael Lynagh. Today playing in his 59th international and for the 47th time partnering his skipper Nick Far Jones at the scrum base for this Wallaby outfit. This is a crucial kick because it will give Australia an 8-point lead, which is outside the range of a converted try. There's the kick. It falls short and wide. And Botha will force it in goal and again come back to the quarter line for the restart of play. Australia lead by 5. Botha hoists it high.
Oh, wonderful play. Uli Schmidt, Jan Breach. Terrific defence by Australia.
Botha. Charged down by Eels. Dupriya, and Eels really working hard. Gee, that was a splendid play by Uli Schmidt. Never took his eyes off the restart of play on that ball. And Yanni Breed appears to be injured. The big number 8 from Transvaal. Take it in. The Springboks, it'll be a Australian ball of the scrum, but Yanni Breed appears to have turned a knee or an ankle.
Beautiful play by Smith, Breed and John Eales. All the forwards showing great skills there, attacking and defending.
Eales here pulling the ball. We're about to pull the ball, and Uli Schmidt, 31 years of age, Northern Transvaal, one of the Blue Bulls. And here David Wilson pulls Yanni Breed down in an awkward tackle. It's a great one in cover defence. And then Eales back into the play. This is the difference in the Australian pack when you've got a player that works on the ball for the restart and then keeps coming back in a defensive situation as well.
And Yanni Breed, the injured player, I suppose the option here would be to look at the Northern Transvaal junior Springbok and Trikas Harting, who would add some spark to the Springbok line-out. But Yanni Breed reluctant to come off. Botha is signalling to the touchline to the doctors or the trainers. Lynagh waits in anticipation of fly half at this ball from Nick Farr-Jones. Long cut-out pass, Jason Little, but that's terrific defence by the Springboks. Gee, they read that well. And a penalty. The player on the ground was David Wilson. And straight away, Naz Botha says to referee David Bishop, I'm going to look for the 3 points.
Well, when you work that defence, when you work that attack very flat on the advantage line, if you get caught and held up and tackled like this, then you've got no one to turn to in deep support. And, they found themselves with nowhere to go.
Botha, 35 out. The Boks trail by 5. This to bring them within 2 points of the Wallabies. Naz Botha. That kick is an absolute shocker. Russell Fairfax on the touchline.
The Springboks are set to make a replacement. He looks like he's off at number 19. Harry Roberts will go on.
Now Dupria, putting it high in the air.
Oh, good play by Herber. Well, I don't think that ball was knocked forward.
It's definitely gone forward, David. There is no doubt about it. It's gone off his arm and gone forward. It went across field, but David Bishop was flat with the play. It looked for all money from this angle.
Now it's back for Lynagh. Well, I thought the knock sideways, but anyway, the referee was in ideal position.
Lynagh down and back play, got hit the knee, and that kick.
So problems for the Australians. Lynagh to his feet though. We'll also see Henny LaRue warming up on the South African bench.
It's been an absolute miracle that Greg Craig has got Michael Lynagh onto the field this week.
Greg Craig has hardly left his side in the last couple of days. Michael Lynagh receives attention. Australia 8, South Africa 3. Place at fly half for Australia again. It's been knocked forward by Australia in the line-out. No advantage to the Springbok side, so they'll get the put into the scrum. See Eels there encouraging this Australian 8 to remain committed, because we're approaching the halfway mark of the second half. And Australia lead by 8 points to 3. There has been no change to the score since half-time.
Tony Daly really driving up on Lude Muller this side of the scrum.
Breed, Dupria. Roebuck is outside his 22. Long kick downfield for Naz Botha. Back for Theo Rondensburg. And again he flirted with that 22-yard line. But a splendid kick and a gain of nearly 50 metres.
Well, didn't have to worry about that one going out in the full. Beautifully judged kick.
So the line out, 23 metres out, and the Springboks are smelling a raid on this Australian line. But to overcome that, they're going to have to put an end to this dominance of John Eales. Paul Carl warming up on the Australian bench. Back it goes for Lynagh. Horan from inside the 22. Won't find touch. Taken by James Small. Hoisted high. Farr-Jones takes the fair catch and took it bravely.
Michael Lynagh went very, very close to obstruction then. Good loud call by Farr-Jones. Brought the mark in.
Marty Roebuck finds touch. Botha thought about the quick throw. But the line out will take place right on the halfway line. Well, I noticed Paul Carl warming up, but Russell Fairfax, the Australian bench, no doubt will give time for Michael Lynagh to run that injury out.
They are very concerned about it. He copped a knock right on his injury. They are going to allow him to play for maybe 4 or 5 minutes to see how it goes. If it comes up trumps, he's staying. If not, he's off immediately.
Well, Uli Smith can't believe that. He's been pinged for the fake throw, a double throw into the line out. And the referee right on the spot to award it.
It happened a number of times in the All Black game.
Uli Smith and Phil Kearns come head-to-head, getting the Springbok backs to stay in an onside position. Now hitting it up on the blind side is Wilson. Australia lay it back again. Far Jones for Lynagh, hoisting high. It's a tester for Van Rensburg. He takes a quick look at his 22, knows he's safely inside it, and takes a brave fair catch. Now Herber. Oh, that kick is woeful.
Excellent defence by the Springboks. They regularly get these Australian players running close to the ruck. Tied up beautifully. Willio was set for a run there, but Farjan Sori is well covered.
I don't think David Wilson expected to be carrying it up from deep, but still in all, it's good flatline defence by the Australians.
Now Phil Kearns is confirming the calls with his skipper Nick Farr-Jones. Communication out there must be a very difficult nature at the moment because there is great atmosphere, great noise here in the stadium. Australia lose the line out on their throw. Now Dani Herber, prolific try scorer is this man. He's been taken by Tim Horan without the football, and there is some commitment in this Springbok pack at the moment.
Gee whiz, the Aussies were lucky there. Springboks very upset. Firstly, Horan hit her without the ball from behind, and secondly, Carozza clinging to the ball on the ground, not letting it go. David Bishop couldn't see what was going on.
Here on this side of the scrum maul also, Dani Herber takes a big swing and miss at Don Eales. Unfortunate stuff for one of the legends of Springbok rugby.
Obviously very frustrated at being impeded after that kick by Timmy Horan. And Robert Dupree to work the scrum for the Springboks, midway between the half and the 22 at their end of the ground. Gunny Breedfield's off. Dupree, centre kick, and well, it's a tough decision, but Michael Lynagh did impede Robert Dupree with the kick.
No doubt about this call. Dupree had kicked, he had time to clear. Michael Lynagh came in and hit him.
Watch it again. Yes, it was deliberate.
Well, I reckon Lynagh's in the motion here of tackling. That was nothing in it. It was up high.
Botha with the ball placed. A chance to draw it back to only 2 the difference. His kicking boots have not been on here today at Newlands. Kicking into the breeze, Naz Botha. No, it's away to the left again. Now Campese counter-attacks. Brilliant stuff by Campese. Oh, that's great play by the Australian wing three-quarter. Now, this is the side to come. They have the overlap. Willie Offengowie. Tim Gavin takes on the defence, and Striger, the front row forward, gets there. Daly, Campese, the ball's been knocked forward.
Just can't see why the advantage wasn't played to the Springboks that time when the ball went forward from Campese. Became available for the Springboks to counter. But good counter-attack, good change of pace by David Campese. It was a practice and a thought for one. It was one-on-one, and he was going to take him on at all stages.
Well, Adri Heldenhuis coming off the field at the moment for some attention. As Breakers Harting warms up on the Springbok bench. Australia 8, South Africa 3. Of Harting on. That's him in number 19. Back it goes for Campese inside his 22. And the referee had a quick look to see if that tackle by Dani Herber was late. Now they counter-attack again with the kick from inside the 22. And South Africa take it back to within 8 metres of the halfway line.
Absolutely beautiful pickup by David Campese back in his own 25. He gave himself time with a very, very risky pickup, but it's great skills.
Well, this Vickers Harting is a very, very good jumper. That's him in 19, number 2 in the line-out. And against the All Blacks for the junior Springboks, he was dominant. Australia's ball from the line-out. Tim Horan hit it beautifully. Takes play 10 metres inside Springbok territory. Second phase, Kearns. Great strength.
Third phase is Roebuck. Campese! Kick and chase! And denied his 50th try in international rugby.
Sensational play by the Australian side. The ball is being cleared so quickly from these rucks and mauls.
Knocked on by Hammer. Knocked on by Australia. Referees are playing advantage. Willie Offengowie takes it inside the 22. Far Jones working blindside Horan. A little to Lynagh. Back it goes for Mackenzie. He sets it well just inside the Springbok 22.
Superb support play by Australia.
Now Horan, kick and chase again.
And brilliant play by Uli Schmidt. Peter Hendricks. Campese wraps him up with Carozza.
Jason Little, beautiful pick up on a loose ball there. They get it back here. Penalty.
Penalty to Australia. Wonderful passage of play. Just continuous ball movement with some great superb put down, pick up, drive on. The Australians are really starting to move it. This is dangerous stuff for South Africa. They're countering when they can, but they're starting to get a little bit ragged.
Well, it appears that there could be a touch judge in on that far side. Number 19, we hear the report, Vickers Harting, a charge of punching. And he's only been on the international field for about 2.5 minutes. So he's going to call Naz Botha over. As John Eales down on the far side.
Well, the South African public have been disappointed with the Australian team so far on tour. But now they're starting to run hot. It's been fantastic play, the support play, the movement of the ball, looking for gaps here.
Now, the referee has given Nick Farr-Jones the option for Michael Lynagh either to take the penalty over there where he's talking to him, or 10 metres in from touch where this infringement occurred. As he's telling Vickers Harting, he will not allow him to throw punches.
I'm not quite happy with this patronising back-patting that's going on by referees, but David Bishop trying to get his message across in as easy and likeable manner as possible. But a little bit strange, that style of refereeing.
It's quite obvious, Russell Fairfax, why Michael Lynagh will bring the ball to this side of the field.
The wind is taking the ball from left to right on your screen and drifting across that way, and this will suit him round the corner kicking. Hopefully he'll fade the ball to the inside, or to the left-hand upright, pushing it out to the right. Hopefully it'll go straight between, but it will favour him, yes.
Australia in the lead by 8 points to 3. And the performance of these two goal kickers today has been disappointing. Lynagh has just kicked one. That was a penalty. He's missed 4 penalties in a conversion. And Naz Botha has kicked just 1 penalty goal from 5 attempts. On a normal day, these two marvellous kickers of the football would delight 45,000 people at Newlands. But with 11 minutes of play remaining, Michael Lynagh,
he's kicked this one. Australia go to the lead by 11 points to 3 here at Newlands.
It's in a touch on the full. So it's been a frustrating day for the Australian fly half. As we go into the final 10 minutes of this historic clash here at Newlands. This the 29th Test match played between these two countries, and South Africa have won 21 of those. But maybe it's the world champions' turn here this afternoon at Newlands. McDonald, green ball, 25, 26 metres out from the Australian line.
Well, David Wilson stole that ball. The ball went to ground. Referee awarded the Springboks a scrum, obviously, from that.
Just 1 try in this match so far, scored by Paul Carozza, with 6 tries so far in Test matches in 1992. as De Pria pumps it up this touchline again, taking play inside the Australian quarter line.
Well, I can't see that this sort of tactic going to the line in that position does the Springbok cause any good. The ball in the hand they showed in the final minutes of the All Black game is when they can get going this enormous spirit that they have with them, and I think this is the ploy that they should be taking now.
8 minutes of play remains at Newlands, and the Australian Wallabies are in the lead by 8. Not even a converted try at this stage would give Springboks a share of the spoils.
We've got Yuli Smith there for a knock-on, coming past, trying to steal that ball from Far Jones.
As soon as the ball's tapped from the line out, the hooker's onside and can follow it through.
They pick the touch just short of the 22. Line out, 20 metres out from the Australian goal line. De Pria, Botha, Bartman to the 22. De Pria, short side. Yanni Britt. Great defence by Australia. And I think it was Rod McCall.
Phil Kearns, a flying tackle.
Kearns was the man that came up with the tackle. De Pria away for Willie Smith. Oh, welcome from Willie Offengowie. It was a bone jarrer.
Willie Smith, welcome to Tonga.
He never moved 1 yard or 1 inch past the advantage, Chris.
Very mindful of Topo Rodriguez's tackle on Hicker Reid as well.
That was
Stopped the movement in its tracks.
That was at Eden Park in '86. Now Australia put the drive on to the 22. Peter Muller wrapped up. And now Van Rensburg. Dreadful conditions out there at the moment. Timmy Horan revels in it though. Tim Horan toes it. Danny Gerber. Horan wraps him up. Australia arrive. A chance. Campese goes into the history books. The first man to score 50 tries in international rugby.
Timmy Horan is back. Look at it. Cuts him to pieces, puts the pressure on the old bull and the young bull. Look at it. Horan brings Herbert to ground. The ball there, he gets back to his feet, Horan, before he plays the ball. The pass, he does all the work. He gives Campese his moment of greatest glory. Super work, David Campese, Wizard of Oz.
Just fantastic stuff. Horan and Little there again. Horan gets up with the ball. Great vision to see Campese out there, and Campese, a player who didn't want to come across here, has now sealed a very historic victory for this Australian team.
Yes, what a moment for David Campese in his 70th cap today, the most capped Wallaby of all time. He scored a try on debut against the All Blacks way back in 1982. 10 years later, he chalks up try number 50, and the first man ever to score 50 tries in international rugby, and the man to convert it, or attempt to convert it, is the most prolific point scorer in international rugby in Michael Lynagh. So this will be icing on the cake at 16 points to 3 if Lynagh can kick it. But it's a stray, it's away to the left, and Australia lead by 16 points to 3 with 5 minutes of play remaining at Newlands. 5 remaining to the full-time hooter here at Newlands. Campese puts pressure on again. And Hendricks, ball into touch. Chris, it's quite ironic that the 2 try scorers today for Australia are of Italian origin. We have a Carozza and a Campese.
Well, I suppose you'd consider it ironic. I just consider it super. With Tim Horan doing all the work for that try. And now it's time for Australia to keep applying it. The All Blacks let off the pressure. They found altitude and a long tour a worry. But I think these young Australians are enjoying this, underlying their strength, just taking the ball forward.
Now Horan has been brilliant in midfield. Lynagh, blindside, pumping it away, angling it towards touch, and Van Rensburg really struggled on that occasion.
All the pre-game publicity centered around the saying, The acid test is not to become the champion, but to remain the champion. This Australian side has remained the world champions. It has been a fantastic performance.
The only thing that's left in front of them with a 13-point lead is to break the previous existing record of the biggest winning margin, 21 points to 6, a 15-point margin. And that was way back in Durban in 1933. So if Australia are going to go into the record books, they have 3 minutes to do it, and Chris Handy, an ideal opportunity.
Well, this is an ideal opportunity, underlying the fact that the front row's back. They've been working away so hard all week. They want to put this in the second row and take it forward.
Now they wheel it. Australia wheel it to the right. Tremendous pressure. This is wonderful stuff by the Wallabies. Now the ball's secure. Penalty. Pulling it down again.
Extraordinary again. We need an advantage. They're on the attack.
David Bishop's calling dangerous play. Dangerous players collapsing the maul, and feels that there's no advantage that comes really from dangerous play, though the ball was coming for Australia. I'm sure this big crowd would have appreciated seeing the Australians maintain possession in this deep into Bok territory.
So Michael Lynagh, a chance to create history for this world champion Wallaby side, because if this kick is successful, it will give them a 16-point break, and as I mentioned, that will be a record-winning margin against the Springboks. And we're talking nearly 60 years ago that record was set. So this one is for the record books for Michael Lynagh. David Campese has already written a chapter in rugby history here this afternoon, and a chance for the Queensland fly half to do exactly the same. He's kicked it! It's a record-winning margin by the Wallabies over South Africa. And Chris Handy looking across to the far side. You've brought a team of supporters across, and they're giving us the good Aussie wave at the moment.
Wonderful crew, the Australian wave. Travel crew over there, Buddha's 4 ex-Wallabies, and they've stuck with us all tour. Rod McCall showing all the skills.
Now Van Rensburg. So Australia lead by 16 points here at Newlands, and Campese on a mission again. Small, taken away. Campese, and they're working in defence. Now they work on the blind side, Bartman. Dupria away for Botha. Small, terrific defence by Marty Roebuck. Horan did magnificently. Carozza, the kicker chase. Could be try time for Carozza. Yes! What a try!
Paul Carozza, what a season he's having. He has scored some sensational tries this year. He's done it again. The little squabber.
He's produced it out of nothing. Mackenzie ball skills extraordinaire. Carozza, as he's done all year, he's worked everything a treat. Down the line in behind the slow and ordinary Robert Dupree. Collects the ball and skids over under control. Great work, the Wallabies. Great work, the little squabber. Over!
Terrific control in the end. And Russell Fairfax, I would suggest,
and this
that even though they are defeated here today, this crowd has stood as one to acclaim the world champions.
Yes, they have applauded this side. They are mindful. They are the world champions. They have done a marvellous job here, not only promoting Australian rugby, but rugby in general. But as I look in front of me now, my view is blocked out. Security has moved onto this crowd, onto this ground, and they're making sure the world champions aren't accosted as they leave the field triumphant from this marvellous test match here at Newlands.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. They have claimed them as true world champions. They have returned to South African soil. Michael Lynagh puts the icing on the cake, and Australia have secured a magnificent victory, a record-winning margin over the Springboks, and the crowd coming onto the ground to acclaim the champions. 26 points to 3, 3 tries to 0, and just a superb second-half performance, Simon Poitevin.
Oh, it's just extraordinary stuff by this Australian team. It's really shown the difference there. It has been a bit of a time warp. Last week against the All Blacks, the Springboks came back against a very tiring All Black team. This time round, the Wallabies are much fitter, much more skillful forward pack. Really smashed them in the second half. and through Tim Horan in particular, and Carozza, Campese. These great players for Australia. They've scored just a superb victory.
Well, Australia here have kept the Springboks trialists, unlike the All Blacks before them, who lost concentration and who lost the spot. These proud Wallabies of ours, and they are proud and they deserve everyone's praise. I'm sure Andrew Slack at home in Brisbane watching would be revelling with Barry Richards at home in the job that he started in 1984. Jeff Bunter, Shaw and everyone in Australia would be delighted with the performance that these young guys have just accelerated. We knew they had it in them. They had to produce their best to beat a very strong All Black side. They did it as we knew they would.
Simon, you mentioned before the game started that you expected a repeat of Lansdowne Road against the All Blacks in October, November of last year. And today, the second half performance was nearly there, wasn't it?
Yeah, the second half performance today, the spirit of Dublin came out with the Australian side. They were so focused this morning in the lead up to the game. They wanted this game so much. They are so proud to be world champions. They didn't want to lose it here in South Africa. They've come here at risking their crown, but they've come away really bathed in glory. And for all those people at home who sent the faxes over the last week, on behalf of the team, thank you. And to Evan Froese and the wheelies over there, thanks for your support too.
Well, while we send out the thanks, it's the end of a marvellous tour. We're part of history over here in South Africa in 1992, renewing ties for the first time in 23 years. But while our crew here of the director John Davies, technical director Peter Booth, producer Ross Mabbott, Ian Gordon, the camera, and the rest of the fellows travelling with us, there's been people at home like Murray Graham, Phil Cullen, Kev Lacey and the rest of the backup crew in Sydney who have stayed up all night to make sure that you people in Australia have enjoyed this historic tour. It's been terrific today to be at Newlands, to see Australia score 3-0 against the Springboks. And for the first time in 23 years they graced Newlands. And this crowd, Chris, no doubt, will remember that the Wallabies came here as world champions and left in exactly the same vein.
David, they thought that the last half performance of the Springboks against the All Blacks was sufficient to carry them over a professional team, and a team of Australians playing at their best. They really worked hard the first half, the Springboks. Their flatline defence is sensational. Their first up defence is just full of heart and full of strength. But they struggled out wide with the ball in the contact situation. And when you have people like David Wilson and good front rowers, and particularly Phil Kearns, Eales and Horan particularly, just stiffening up that midfield, and the finishes of Campese, it's a very complete team effort, and it was always going to be hard for the Boks to beat a team effort.
Well, the credit must also go to the backroom boys of this Australian side. What a year it's been for Bob Dwyer the last 12 months. A World Cup, a Bledisloe Cup, and now a victory over South Africa in his 49th test as Australia's coach. Today, his 29th victory. People like Brian Hopley, though, Simon Porterman, Greg Craig, everyone that's involved with this side, Dr. Cam Osborne, it's been all part of history here today.
Well, speaking to Darnie Craven yesterday, he just can't believe, with a new era of rugby, the amount of support staff out there. But you see the result there today. These players are superbly fit. They are taken care of very well by the physiotherapists. They're coached by 3 great coaches led by Bob Dwyer. There's no stone left unturned.
Yes, well, Jake Howard, of course, who toured here in 1969, part of that, and Bob Templeton as well, Chris. It's been a total professional build-up, and what a culmination here this afternoon at Newlands.
Well, this week has been a very a week to turn inwards for the Wallaby coaching staff. They hadn't been able to get the flow that they wanted to from the players on tour. It was a test of their ability to pull it in and to go back to basics and to get them playing. They made critical changes to the back row. There were some formed players left out of the side, but they knew what they were looking for. They knew the field that they were looking for. They knew the type of play and where they wanted to play it. They were clear, they did it, and their players didn't let them down.
And off the field this week, just remembering on Tuesday, this side nearly went home, and some great negotiation by a great champion of Australian rugby, Joe French, the president, who did all the off-field battles, Simon, to ensure the safety of the players and for his old mate Darnie Craven's benefit that the tour would go ahead. Let's now Naz Boyd up in the Australian dressing room, acknowledging the world champions. There's Dr. Cam Osborne in front. The people we're talking about, Jake Howard and Bob Templeton, and Big John Williams here with the Springbok blazer on. He toured Australia back in 1971 with the Springboks. He remembered what they did to us. And the congratulations all round. Nick Farr-Jones, have we seen the last of him as Australian captain?
Well, Nick Farr-Jones said today that he'd retire after this game if we won. He may retire for a little while, but Farr-Jones will be back.
Well, great jubilation in that Australian dressing room. We're down now with John Robbie, and I think he's going to be talking to the Australian captain, and maybe the answer will be there. Have we seen the last of this great Australian skipper? Grand Slam, Bledisloe Cup, World Cup, and now in South Africa. How does he feel, Nick Farr-Jones?
Fantastic. Really been wanting to get it right for a long while, and we did all right against New Zealand. We're delighted to win the Bledisloe Cup, but I think that 80 minutes, especially in tough conditions, we proved that we are the best, and it is a real relief yet again. To come on a tour of South Africa, play 4 hard games, come away with 4 wins, culminating in that result is just great.
What were your tactics, looking at the weather, knowing South Africa would be fired up after their good second half performance against the All Blacks?
We figured that if we got it right, like we did in the semi-final of the World Cup last year, if we had all the enthusiasm and the urgency, that South Africa wouldn't know it hit them. I'm not saying New Zealand didn't play well, because they played very well, but we, at times, when we get it right, we can really play with urgency, enthusiasm. That's what we try to do. I think we shell-shocked South Africa early, but we did run into a slight breeze when we got to 8-3, turning at half-time. All we had to do was cut down the Razzle-Taz play. You know, we threw a lot of bad passes, a lot of risky passes, just play percentage rugby, and we had a good chance.
Talk us to the tries. Do you remember them? You seemed to set people running, punching and ball back quickly, moving it wide. Was that a tactic?
Well, it was. We've practiced that all year, that if we can get quick ruck ball, feeding forwards, running both directions, and Jason Little, Timmy Horan, Marty Roebuck, they also ran off well from the base of rucks and mauls, going in both directions, and I think that caught South Africa a bit out. You know, when we go one way to the right, bring it back quickly to the left, and they seemed a bit short on numbers. First try was a good one. Phil Kearns took it round off the back of a maul round to the left, passed it to me. Mike Lynagh really made it with the ball round the back to Paul Carozza, and even with including David Campese, I don't think there's a better finisher in the game at the moment than Paul Carozza. Not many wingers could have finished that first one, and the last try was just fantastic. The second try, Tim Horan's try, got through, wonderful chip, put pressure on. I think it was Tim who threw the pass to Campo as well.
It was brilliant. If you had, now I know you're a diplomat and you're not going to criticise, but if you had some advice for South Africa, they're just back in World Rugby, they're going to go on a very difficult tour now, France and England, what would your advice be, your friendly advice to them?
Well, I don't know if I'd advise them. I'd just say, look, keep your heads up, because it's going to take some time. This team's been together largely since '89, and it was really only last year that we started to get it right. Really starting with a victory over New Zealand in Wellington in 1990. It takes a couple of years. South Africa have been together for 2 domestic tests. You know, I really don't think they'll be hitting their best form maybe for 2 or 3 years. But we of Australia strongly encourage the unification process. We would like to see, you know, for the World Cup in '95, that you don't have some of the problems that we've had on this tour.
Did that affect you at all, the row after last week, the pressure, the political pressure on you this week?
No, it didn't affect us because it happened early in the week. It was Monday that we thought there might have been problems when the ANC met, but it seemed that fairly early in the week that the ANC had agreed to approve the tour, or continue to approve it, and we really focused in hard from that time. So, you know, we had 4 days when to prepare, and it reminded me of the week leading into the semi-final last year against New Zealand, when we did it all right. The boys were on a hot tin roof. We prepared with urgency and enthusiasm, and it showed out there today.
Final question. You said if you lost today, you might be keen to play on. What about Nick Farr-Jones? Are you going to play again for Australia?
Look, there's always the option if Pete Slattery gets injured next year, and we don't have a solid backup. We've got plenty of good halfbacks back in Australia. I might throw the hand up, but you know, I'm really happy with what I've been able to achieve, and I'm privileged to have been able to play for Australia for so long. The thing that I'll miss, maybe not the playing, because as you get older, it's harder to play. But I'll miss the camaraderie, the fellowship within this team. It is just fantastic, and I'm glad I got out at this note if I get out.
Well, congratulations, and thanks for all the magic moments, Nick Farr-Jones.
Thank you very much.
Yes, let's relive some of that for Nick Farr-Jones. At 30 years of age today, played in his 59th test, his 36th appearance as Australian captain. He's won a Grand Slam, 2 Bledisloe Cups. He captained the World Cup. Just a fantastic performance here today, leading Australia to a record-winning margin over the South African Springboks to the tune of 26 points to 3. We see him in action here now. Nick Farr-Jones, a big hand in this first try. Paul Carozza scored Australia's only try of the first half. It was splendid play by the left winger. And he was to come up with another one in the second half. Let's look at it again from head on. Phil Kearns did a terrific job here. Terrific play again. Looping was Far Jones for Lynagh. And the little squabber goes over in the corner for a great Australian try that set up this victory here today at Newlands in South Africa. This is a moment the young fella will remember for a long, long time. One of 2 tries here this afternoon. 7 tries in the domestic season for Australia in his comeback after sitting on the bench last year and missing the World Cup. Now, Tim Horan was just in splendid form here today as well. As Nick Farr-Jones said, this was Tim Horan's try, but it set up a record performance by David Campese, the most capped Australian of all time, 50 tries in Test match rugby. And as Nick pointed out, it was Horan who recovered to give Campo his moment of glory. That was the second of the Australian tries.
And again in the bow.
Now Naz Botha, the defeated Springbok captain, is with John Robbie.
Jones said his advice to South Africa was not to be downhearted. It took them a while to get it right. What do you think about that?
John, I must say, I think Australia proved today that while they're the world champions, they really played well. And, you know, the conditions made it very tough for us because we wanted to spin the ball, but, you know, in these conditions you just couldn't. You couldn't find your footing, and it was very difficult conditions for us. But on the other hand, they played so well that they made it very difficult for us.
What were your match tactics going into the game?
What we tried to do is, you know, we tried to keep it close, and then, you know, if the chance is there, to play it wide. But you know, the thing is, going forward, and then we struggled to get a quick ball out, you know, and then we couldn't get it out to the wings, and that's where, you know, that's where our strong points are, and we just couldn't do it.
Have you learnt any specific lessons from them? They seem to do everything so well, cut down mistakes in that second half. It really was copybook stuff.
Oh, for sure, and I think, you know, that's coming from experience, and you know, I think today they proved that you can never buy experience, and you know, that's one thing that we've learned today is that you know, we need experience. You know, we need to get the ball out quickly, and we just need to adapt to conditions.
You need a tour.
We need a tour desperately, and we should have had one already, but you know, we're not going to lie down now. It's just back to the drawing board and get stuck into it.
What's the mood like in the dressing room? Are the team genuinely disappointed, or are they looking positively at the future?
No, I think they're looking positively at the future, but the only thing I think we all wanted to do well, especially after last Saturday, but you know, if it's getting tough, you know, the only thing you can do is to keep your head up.
The referee, you were very critical of the referee last week. There seemed to be certain misunderstandings. Today it seemed a lot better, was it?
Yeah, I think, you know, it was totally different today. We had, to put it nicely, we had a nice guy on the field, you know, and he made it so easy for us to play, and we never even had to go to him and ask him why. Why is the decision? You know, it was so clear why he made the decisions, and it was just a joy to play on him.
I asked Nick Farr-Jones about his future. He was a little bit cagey. What about Naz Botha?
No, I'm very cagey now. In the next 24 hours, I'll let you know.
Okay, Naz, thanks for talking to us, and keep the head up.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay.
Naz Botha there, who led the South African Springboks here this afternoon. In the end, Australia winning by a record-winning margin to the tune of 26 points to 3. As we say goodbye from South Africa, on behalf of the commentary team, Russell Fairfax, Simon Poideman and Chris Handy, I'm David Fordham saying farewell from Newlands and Cape Town. We'll rejoin Mike Gibson in our Sydney studios on the other side of this commercial break. Goodbye, Australia.
Yes!